Bears suck.
This is Out High Bear Nation.
All right. Welcome, everybody, to another edition of Out of High Bear Nation. As you can see, the intro video, a lot of old faces on there, some Justin Fields. I think there might have been Roquan Smith, actually. I tried to upload my new video this morning, had a little bit of problems getting it to upload properly, but that's not going to stop us today. We can revisit some old faces. With me today is our dude Mike. How you doing this morning, Mike?
Doing good, man. Game day. Ready.
Yeah, that's right. Game day. Bears, Texans, Sunday Night Football, the debut of Caleb Williams. Few weeks back, Tarbill and I did our predictions on this game. I had the Bears winning, and I kind of used it as a Caleb Williams welcome to the NFL type of game where the guy's been known to shine under the bright lights, and now we're going to get an opportunity early on to see him and this Bears offense that struggled last week to take on CJ Stroud and a young, talented Texans offense. My thoughts on it, I think it's going to be difficult for them to keep pace, but you know, what are your thoughts on this game and what you predict on how the offense will look?
Yeah, so I mean, when I did my season prediction on the Bears season, I had them losing this game. I think I still have them losing this game, unfortunately. I think we all saw last week, you know, kind of touched a little bit on it on Friday, where most of us, I felt like we were just ready for Caleb Williams, and we expected, you know, 300 yards out of him game one, and it just wasn't a realistic expectation. You know, there's a reason why I don't think any rookie quarterback threw for even 200 yards last week. So there's a reason for that. So I think we just, you know, came to realization that, like, yes, he is Caleb Williams, but yes, he's a rookie, and it's going to take him a couple games to kind of get used to the system and just the NFL speed and, you know, just growing pains. This Texans defense, or this Texans team, is really good. I think they're like that standard, right? Like when you look at CJ Stroud and Tank Dell and Nico Collins and Stephon Diggs, you know, like you got a great young quarterback with three great wide receivers. And I think that's where the Bears are trying to get. But Bears are trying to get there. The Texans are already there. So I think it's going to be kind of what you said. I think it's going to be hard to keep up. I think it really comes down to two things. One, can our defense slow down that Texans offense to let our offense have a chance to keep up? And then two, I know we kind of pounded this on Friday, but it still needs to be said that, you know, it just really comes down to our offensive line, especially our interior offensive line, because if they're not going to give us a chance to run the ball, if they're not going to give Caleb a chance to sit back and make his reads and make a throw, there's not a whole lot we're going to do. They have Mario Edwards on that interior D line that can cause major problems. they still got Will Anderson and Danielle Hunter on the edge. So that D line is for real. So this offensive line is going to have it cut out for them, and they got to play way better because we thought we had issues protecting the Titans D line.
Yeah.
I mean, it's you play anything close to that, it's going to be a long night for Caleb Williams in this offense.
I mean, one, if you want to look at a bright spot, I guess, is the fact that the Bears' strength of their offensive line is the exterior, where the Texans' strength of their defensive line is the exterior. So you have strength on strength. So hopefully that's able to be.
Mario is a beast in the interior still, though.
Yeah, I mean, my hope is that they were able to see Caleb is struggling with pressure up the front, up the middle, right? So the best way to get a quarterback out of that situation is to do couple rollouts, play action, that kind of stuff, and to run the ball. Just simply run the ball. You have all these running backs that all off season you're talking about, Swift and Herbert and Johnson, and Johnson's playing today, or he's active today. So there's no excuse for you not to run the ball.
Did you hear anything? I heard there was rumors about Benton possibly being benched tonight.
Huh. I did not. Houston Texans. I'll look and see what I can figure out. But
the one, and yeah, just I agree. Just bring some positivity and not trying to be a downer on the Bears. I can also make arguments for a Bears win today. I think one thing, kind of what you alluded to, is the welcome to the NFL. The motivation to showcase. But if he didn't already have that motivation, how he played last week and how the media and everyone talked about him all week long, you would think that's going to motivate him to really want to amp up his game this week. So I think he has extra motivation as well. The other thing is we see this Texans offense just light it up week after week. And that's because they're a mismatch to most teams. Because even if you have a guy that can guard Diggs, they got Nico. Even if you have another guy that can handle Nico well, they got Tank Dell. So they are a mismatch to most defenses. I think the Bears defense is the worst defense they're going to want to play. I think the Bears defense is a perfect defense to match up against this Texans offense because we have 3 stud corners that can literally match up to any of those 3. And then we still have 2 good safeties on top of that. So I think that it's there's no mismatch there. I think as long as our secondary plays to the level that our secondary can play, I think there's a good chance we can, limit-ish this Texans offense.
So CJ Stroud, one thing I noticed watching him play is he seems so comfortable in the pocket, right? Like young quarterbacks, usually they're not as calm. Their footwork is kind of all over the place. But when he steps back, it's like he's able to just breathe, see the field, get through his reads, deliver the ball. I think the defense is going to have to be outstanding for this team to win today. You have to get pressure. Second half last week, we talked about it on Friday, that Eberflus was able to dial up the blitz at like the perfect time in the second half last week, and that rattled Will Levis clearly. And that's what happens when, especially on younger quarterbacks, when you get that pressure and they're not able to get set, get through their reads, they rush, they make dumb decisions. Even experienced quarterbacks do. We've watched Tom Brady do it, Aaron Rodgers do it. Like, pressure on the quarterback will lead to him making poor decisions in the passing game. And you have an opportunistic secondary that's proven over the last year and week 1 of this season that they're ready to just take that ball away from you. That's what I think the Bears have to do. Caleb did a good job last week of not turning the ball over. So you protect the ball and you get 2 takeaways. I'd say the Bears would need 2 for me to feel comfortable with them winning this game.
Yeah, I think and I think that's a fair point. The only thing that's tough about that is CJ Stroud does not turn the ball over usually. So he's not, you have these guys like these Aaron Rodgers, even back to like, like a Brett Favre, like these gunslingers, like they have the big arm, they make the big plays, but they're gunslingers, so they leave the interceptions open and available.
Right.
CJ Stroud is usually pretty smart with the ball. Um, so that will be tough, but I agree. Like if you can get 2 turnovers from this for your defense today, I think that could be a complete difference maker in the Bears winning and losing this game. Um and I agree about Caleb Williams. People want to talk about, Caleb Williams and his poor play week 1. I'm not going to try to defend it, but really the only thing that I felt like he truly struggled with was his accuracy, but his decision making and his play recognition, I think that was there. I think, when he knew he didn't have it, he didn't try to force it. It was a third, like I talked about this on Friday, that third, and I think it was a 3rd and 9 or 3rd and 10. And he was getting pressured. He had to roll out to the outside. He had a couple guys crossing left to right. He probably could have tried to make a throw and fit it in, but he didn't even risk it. He thought there was a chance that maybe he can get the first down, or maybe he can get 4th and inches, and then they can have the decision to go for it. And he tucked it in. He ran the ball, and he ended up picking up the first down, where a lot of quarterbacks might have panicked and tried forcing a throw there, and the Titans again would be starting on our side of the field again. So his accuracy was not good last week, but I think that's also understandable when it comes to a rookie in his first game. And people talk about Jalen Daniels. He had 2 touchdowns. He had 2 rushing touchdowns. And to be fair, Jalen Daniels doesn't have the expectations that Caleb Williams does. He doesn't have the pressure that Caleb Williams does. So you're going to have that added in there for Caleb as well. So it was one game. I'm not going to stress over it, but I do think that, to feel confident going forward in the season, I would like to see, a big jump in play by Caleb Williams, and not just him, because our O-line played bad. Our running back, our running game didn't do well. Keenan Allen had a key drop. Rome Odunze had a key drop. I didn't agree with the personnel we had on the field. I don't know why Kmet was barely on the field last week. I think we need to see more of Cole Kmet and give Caleb Williams another option. And the biggest thing to me is don't try to look like this sexy offense that you're not yet. Like, don't go for these big splash plays and these exciting plays, and don't try to go for shootout. The best thing you can do as a Bears offense tonight, little slants, zig routes, drags, outs, draws, runs,
5-7 yard curls. We talked about it on Friday.
The clock, establish the drives, put drives together, because the more you can keep this Texans offense off the field, the better shot you have at winning. Don't try to score in 3 plays. Try to build those long drives and take some time off the clock and limit the possessions that the Texans have.
Absolutely. It's like we used to say every time the Bears would go and play the Packers, right? The less Aaron Rodgers was on the field, the better chance you had of winning.
Yep.
I think that goes for any quarterback that you face until you figure out what Caleb Williams is. The longer your offense can keep their offense off the field, the better opportunity you have of winning, because you're going to limit the amount of opportunities they have to score. A couple things that I'm a little worried about, and I know it's just analytic BS. Last week, Caleb Williams had the worst completion over expectation. His percent was the worst in the NFL. For those of you that don't know what that is, it's basically like it gauges how much higher or lower a quarterback's completion percentage is based off of the plays that they're running. So basically, if it's an easy play and they're not making the completion, that's going to lower that stat. He was also the 3rd worst in adjusted EPA, only behind Daniel Jones and Deshaun Watson. So those aren't great areas to be in. I know it was just week 1. Caleb has come out. He's taken responsibility for, basically saying that, he struggled in week 1. The offense struggled in week 1. Offensive coordinator came out, said that he's going to look to change up the personnel. I think it's going to be a little difficult now with the potential injuries that are going to be out there. Keenan Allen is looking more of like a game time decision. I would be surprised if he plays. And then I was just reading this morning that Rome feels like he can go. It's just going to be if the coaching staff thinks it's good for him to go or not tonight. Ryan Bates, he was put on IR this week, so it's going to be Nate Davis taking over that spot. And who else? Kari Blasingame is out as well. The Texans, they seem to be relatively healthy. Their backup safety, he's not going to be playing. Pierce is questionable, and that's all I'm seeing on their injury report right now. So, you're going to be going in there. You might be your two of your three wide receivers that you were so hopeful for not playing.
Yeah, but so real quick, so on the analytics that you shared, I know that when you look at it on paper, it's not good. But at the same time, if Keenan Allen makes that catch in the end zone,
right,
that's different. If Rome Odunze makes that catch over the middle of the field, that's different. If the offensive, not drawing up these big, deep bombs, downfield instead of short and easy stuff to get Caleb Williams, get his feet wet. If they had better player personnel, if Komet showed last year that he could be a top 5 tight end in this league. The fact that he was just not there for Caleb last week is an issue. So
yeah.
I think it didn't look good, and he could succeed. You gotta let him have a chance at succeeding, otherwise he's not going to. And so yeah, I mean, it didn't look good, but and Caleb didn't relatively look good, but at the same time, I don't think it was just Caleb. I think the coaching was bad. I think the offensive line was bad. I think overall, the only thing that played well was the defense. Defense and special teams played well. Everything else needs to improve this week.
Yeah, I agree. You're looking at a spot. Last week, I told you guys in our group chat when they were down by 17, I was like, you have to win this game. You're at home against an opponent that shouldn't be as good as you on paper. And then you go into this game against a Texans team, even before the season started, that we all knew was going to be good. And then next week you look at the Colts, you had the potential to start 0-3. I mean, you still have the potential to be 1-2, but I think if we've seen anything out of the Flus and Pace Flus and Poles regime is that the team plays, they don't give up. So I expect this team to go out there to play hard, to keep it close. And, my prediction to start the season, I had them winning. So I would still like to say that I could see the Bears pulling off a win here. Because honestly, 0-7, your last 7 Sunday Night Football games, it makes for a long ending of a Sunday full of good football, so I would love to see the Bears come in and compete. We need to see Caleb step up and show those flashes. I'm not saying it has to be a complete game yet of him looking great, but we have to see him some sustained drives. We have to see him deliver the ball accurately to receivers, especially if they're wide open. And then we need those guys to make the catch. You talked about Keenan Allen last week. That's a catch that 9 times out of 10 he makes, and he just happened to – the one time he doesn't make it happened to be last week. You make that catch, Caleb delivers a couple of these balls that are wide open guys. You get that the juice is flowing, the momentum, positive vibes in your offense. Your quarterback feels a little bit better. I think the game goes a completely different way. And that's kind of – what I'm hoping to see tonight. The last thing I want to see is the Bears get the ball and go 3-and-out. I think that's just, if they go 3-and-out and they look bad doing it, false start. Okay, so now you're pushed back, and then you do a screen pass that gets blown up, and You run the ball on, 2nd and 15, and it just goes nowhere. Like, that's the kind of offense we don't need to see. We've watched that our whole life. All that's going to do is frustrate your offense, frustrate your quarterback, and it's going to give the momentum to the Texans. You have to go in there and look competent, look like you can hold your own against a top team, playoff bound team. Everybody has the Texans in the playoffs. Some people even suggest that they are talented enough to make it to the Super Bowl, right? And I said it on Friday. The reason I feel like the Bears are 0-7 on Sunday Night Football is because usually the Sunday Night Football game is reserved for high caliber teams. And it's usually when the Bears have a new quarterback or a good defense where...
How many of those games are versus the Packers?
Right. Probably at least 4.
Yeah.
So
I mean, like, we can't ever beat the Packers, in the past.
Right.
So.
But I don't want to be sitting there frustrated watching the same garbage that we watched last week. If they go into the locker room down 17 points at halftime, this isn't the Titans. The Bears are not going to be able to just smother this Texans team and keep them scoreless the entire second half. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, it's kind of what I said on Friday, when we were recapping the Titans game. You went down 17-0. You had an impressive comeback, but you cannot go down 17-0 to this Texans team because, like you said, it's not the same team. But as you were talking, the more I was thinking about this game, there's just a part of me, I don't know what it was. Something just sparked inside of me where I can kind of feel where the Texans are looking at the Bears and saying, see, they're not so scary. Look they just barely beat the Titans. They beat the Titans when they probably should have lost to the Titans. So they're going to come in thinking like we're playing this soft team. If this defense, I would love it if we start on defense tonight and just smash them right in the damn mouth.
Set the tone.
Yeah, just hit them hard and just like almost where the Texans are just like, wait, what the heck just happened? Like how awesome would it be to just completely like, maybe like a tackle for loss, and then you come out and you sack Stroud and you stop them, and then you punt, and then this Bears offense comes down and they score opening drive, and just like that, it's 7-0 Bears, and the Texans are like, wait, what just happened? And I think it sounds so simple and so small, but it's something like that can just deteriorate the confidence of the Texans and increase the confidence of Caleb Williams and the Bears. And you just completely left the Texans off balance where they don't know what to expect anymore. So you leave this Texans team off balanced. That is the best case scenario for the Bears tonight.
I feel like if you're Eberflus and you're going into this game, you watched your offense last week, your defense is going to have to be outstanding. And I'm hoping that he, like you said, I hope that he comes out and he's just let the dogs loose. Let these guys get after Stroud. Blow up some interior line right in his face. A sack on the first drive would be good. You don't want to give him a drive where he just marches down the field, makes your defense look silly, and then punt, and then they kick the ball to the Bears, and then the Bears struggle. Because that's the typical Bears formula, right? They go 3 and out. The other team gets the ball. They walk down the field, score a touchdown. You get the ball back. You go 3 and out, and they do it again. Like that. This defense is too good to let that happen. And they have some dogs on that team. Jalen Johnson, we got Sweat, Brisker, Gordon. Like, these guys are legit. Some people might not know, they're not flashy names. Montez Sweat isn't, a TJ Watt, but he's a guy who, when the Bears brought him in last season, your defensive line improved significantly. The pressure on the quarterback got better. I think that you give guys like Austin Booker, it'd be nice to see him out there, on maybe like a 3rd and 7 type of play where all he's got to do is pin his ears back and go get the quarterback. I am interested to see the strategy of how the offense is going to work. In Seattle, you saw a lot of 2 tight end sets. You didn't see a lot of that week 1. I'm not sure if, it was just a comfort thing for Waldron, but you brought in Everett, you have Cole Kmet, you got Mercedes Lewis, and I'm not saying he's going to be this massive unit in the passing game, but he's proven to be a solid blocker his whole career. And, don't just be vanilla.
Right.
Vanilla is NFL defenses are so advanced now. You can read a vanilla offense and figure it out no problem. That's why you watch teams like San Francisco where pre-snap there's all this movement. Wide receivers going this way, running backs going that way, quarterback doing this and that. And what that does is it makes your defense not know exactly what's coming. Duh, that's the point. You line up there, you got nobody moving, hike the ball and a screen pass that gets blown up. It's almost like the Bears offense for so many years has been so predictable. We've watched games where you just see a spot and you're like, oh, this is going to be a screen pass. Boom, it's a fucking screen pass. Or, oh, this is going to be run up the middle when they should go to the outside, and it is, and it gets blown up. I want to see some stuff where, like I said, the pressure got to Caleb Williams last week, right in his face. I would love to see, some movement where maybe you play action one way and the line goes and you let your quarterback scoot the opposite way and two guys on the other side of the field are open. Who knows? I just want to see, even give me twists. It doesn't have to be full chocolate. You know what I mean? Just like throw in some wrinkles that are going to keep the Texans on their heels and not be able to just let the dogs loose on your quarterback.
Yeah. I everything you said, I completely agree with. I think those are all great points. And I would like to see where you got beat on the O-line. I mean, I think we all know where, but did they blitz that linebacker? Try to really break down that tape and see where those blitzes came from or where the pressure came from. Because the Texans are going to look at that and they're going to try to draw up something similar. And if they do that, if they do blitz in and they take that linebacker and they blitz in, through that same gap, maybe call a slant to DJ Moore and have it just throw right where the blitzer left. Because as soon as that blitzer comes in, you're going to leave that part of the field open. Just when that blitzer comes in, throw it to where he's at. The one thing I 100% do not want to see, all we've heard was, Caleb Williams to CJ Stroud. CJ Stroud set this massive expectation for rookie quarterbacks. And everyone has just been comparing Caleb Williams and CJ Stroud. They're going to be that next. You do not need to come out and be CJ Stroud. You do not come out and need to beat CJ Stroud. You do not need to come out and look better than CJ Stroud. You need to just play better than you did the week before.
Yep.
And just help this team win. Don't worry about who's on the other sideline for the other team playing quarterback. Focus on this offense. Focus what you need to do to put points on the scoreboard. It's so easy for Caleb Williams to be like, all right, so this is the guy. Okay. And I really, really hope if the coaches really talk to Caleb about anything and coach him on anything, I hope they really hammered that into his head that do not stress about meeting the play of CJ Stroud tonight. Yep. He's already a full year into the NFL. This is your second game. So anyone that compares Caleb Williams to CJ Stroud tonight and judging accordingly is just foolish, honestly.
Yeah, we talked about this also. What CJ Stroud did last year doesn't happen.
It's rare.
Right. So when people are already coming out and being like, oh, well, Caleb should be like CJ Stroud, or the odds are not going to be in your favor in that situation because it doesn't happen often. Rookie quarterbacks don't come into this league and have instant success. It's just not a realistic thing. The speed of the game is so much faster than in college. Wide receivers and corners are basically, glued at the hip in the NFL. The window to deliver a ball is so small. That's why, last week, when you had some of these guys wide open, you got to make those passes. You have to, because you start missing those passes, then you're going to question yourself on the basic distance between a wide receiver and a corner. You know what I mean? There was plenty of times where Justin just wouldn't throw the ball last year because he didn't trust his ability to fit it into that window. And I don't want that to happen with Caleb. I don't want him to be like, well, man, I missed these guys wide open. The last thing I need to do is try to fit a ball into a window like this and get intercepted. Personally, I would rather him make those mistakes, throw 2 interceptions, and come back to the sideline and be like, okay, well, what were you looking at? What did you see here that made you do that? I don't want to see, that kid glove, play safe, high school offense run. Let your quarterback go out there and make mistakes. This year, yeah, we have expectations for playoffs. They should make it to the playoffs. But also, this year is so much more than just the playoffs. It's about building your quarterback's confidence, making sure he understands and grows from mistakes that he makes during a game. And tonight, I see it going one of 2 ways. I see it being a game where Caleb rises and he delivers this great showing for Sunday Night Football, or I think it'll be a game like last week where the offense struggles. This defensive line is good. Your strength of this team was supposed to be your running game, right? And if you get down by too much, it happened last week. They got down by 17. What happened? They stopped running the ball. And we talked about it. I do think that this boomer bust offense needs to not be a thing for this team right now. I know you got a shiny new toy in Caleb Williams. You want to show him off. But we talked about name a great offense in the NFL where it's every play is just boom, down the field, go route, launch it to their wide receiver. None. It's like the Chiefs.
Maybe
the Chiefs. Yeah, but they don't even do it unless Patrick Mahomes is Patrick Mahomes, right? But they still utilize Travis Kelce in the short passing game. Yeah. A lot of these
well, it's kind of like what I said last week. Well, even the Chiefs, to your point, even with a guy like Mahomes at quarterback and those weapons, they still did that, that end around, that jet sweep to Xavier Worthy, where he just used his speed and took the end around and took it to the house for a touchdown.
Right.
I think we all can agree we don't really want to see Velus Jones out there catching passes, but that could be something you can utilize Velus Jones in. Maybe just give him an end around, give him a jet sweep. You put him on this roster for his explosiveness. That's literally the only reason why he's on this roster.
Yep.
So utilize that. Try to get him a jet sweep. Try to get him on an end around. See if you can get you do that and you can get 4 or 5 yards, even say off of that. Now it's 2nd and 5. Now you can maybe call a run with Swift up the middle. Maybe you get to a 3rd and 1, and then 3rd and 1 it opens up the playbook. You can do a play action rollout with Caleb, and if you see something, it's there. If it's not, you can just run it for the first down. So I just want to see more simplicity out of this offense. Don't make it so complicated. Don't, like you said, we feel we have a shiny new toy, but you don't need to try to make him Patrick Mahomes game 2. You don't need to. You just want him to be Caleb Williams making strides on his development. That's all you really need to see. So it's just I really hope that I really hope that this defense plays to the level they played last week, because if you don't and you let this Texans team go down up 2 or 3 scores and you make this offense be one-dimensional, that is the worst case scenario for the Bears. You cannot be one-dimensional. You got to be able to mix up your game plan. As long as you're competing and you're keeping it close, you're able to do that. And the Texans have a good D line. They have Stingley in the secondary, who's good. But other than that, there should be some holes for Caleb to make some throws on this team. So,
look at Anthony Richardson last week.
Yeah,
they put up good. He put up good numbers, and the NFL is all about copycat, right? It's a copycat league. That's all you hear. So why not take these I don't want to say easy, because I don't feel like a play in the NFL is ever an easy play, but these basic plays, right? Like we talked about. play action, roll your quarterback out, give him a little bit of space to see the field, cut the field in half. Remember, that's what they used to talk about with Mitch all the time. Oh, I can't read the whole field, so cut it in half. Year 3, that's not a great thing. But year 1, why not simplify it for your quarterback? Give him that confidence. You have DJ Moore who's going to be out there tonight. Cole Kmet. You have the full complementary running back room. Like, use these guys to build this confidence in this young quarterback, because we've watched in college when Caleb is feeling confident, that guy's out there and he's slinging the ball. He's making these plays, and that's what you need. You don't want him to go out there, get in his head, get flustered, and then it's just a complete snowball effect the rest of the game.
Yeah. I agree. And I know we're talking about like the weapons, who he has or who he's not. I did find one thing on Twitter from an hour ago. I know this is kind of what I think it's kind of what you were trending anyways. But it says that, let me pull this back up. Hang on. Rome Odunze is officially tracking towards playing tonight.
Okay, cool. Yeah, because I had heard that there was no like stability or like structural damage to the knee. It was all about pain management.
Yeah.
So,
and Keenan Allen they're saying Keenan Allen is a true game time decision. So, but if Keenan Allen is out, I know I talked about a little. Well, actually, I think I talked to you guys about this off air a little bit, maybe. But Tyler Scott, man, if Keenan Allen is out, Tyler Scott, we drafted him thinking he can be a good slot guy, a good receiver for us. And now he, probably feels like he just kind of got pushed aside with getting more and then drafting Odunze, signing Allen. But this really kind of gives him an opportunity, if Keenan Allen or Rome Odunze does not end up playing, to really just show that you should be that guy, that you should have an argument for a wide receiver 3 maybe, or at least be on the field more and run a 4 wide receiver set, something. But this is your chance to kind of show that you deserve to be on this roster, because if he has the opportunity this year and he doesn't do well, I can almost see a scenario where he might not be on our roster next year, because he's played okay, but I think he can play a little bit better. And granted, last year we had Fields, who, if your name wasn't DJ Moore or Cole Kmet, no one really kind of played well offensively on the wide receiver for us. But I do like Tyler Scott a lot. I think he is a good wide receiver and good ball player. So if we need him to come in for Keenan Allen, I just want to see him make the best of it and make the best of that situation, because I do want to see him do well. But
my thing about Tyler Scott is the fact that the wide receivers, there's so many good wide receivers in the league. I'm not saying great. Obviously, the guys that are great are just head and shoulders above everybody else. But and then every year there's just these good, solid wide receivers that are coming out of the draft. And I feel like if you have an opportunity like he might get today, you have to show that you can step up and be a guy that your team can rely on. You know what I mean? Before you get in this situation where, Tyler Scott, did he really do much for us this year? No. Can we get the same production out of a guy in the draft? Absolutely. So.
Well, yeah. And not only that, we have DeAndre Carter and Colin Johnson on this team too. So, there are some guys there as well, but not only that, if Tyler Scott just looks very, just meh this year, if this offense, you can tell that towards the end of the year they're playing better, and the league gains that respect for Caleb Williams in this passing game. If you're a free agent wide receiver, you can maybe see something like a Stephon Diggs who wanted to go to play with CJ Stroud and the Texans. You might be able to go and get a big wide receiver in free agency this year.
Yeah.
Because I think that's what really makes a big difference on this Texans team, is the fact that they already had Nico Collins and Tank Dell, and now you just added Stephon Diggs, who I don't feel it's getting talked about enough because I feel like, what was it, just a year or 2 years ago, we were making arguments that Stephon Diggs was one of the best wide receivers in football. He's definitely one of the best route runners. So, you know, I think that's a huge addition for that team. And I think, you know, that could be something the Bears can look at, you know, going forward if they do need help at that wide receiver position. And also the biggest thing is if Keenan Allen doesn't sign, because if Keenan Allen resigns, then you're probably not going to get a wide receiver at that point.
I don't think they're looking to extend Keenan Allen unless he has a monster year. And I don't think that this early injury is a good sign for him.
I agree.
Whether it's just you know, day-to-day, week-to-week type of thing. I think they brought Keenan Allen because they weren't sure what they were going to get in the draft. Once they got a Dunze, they were like, oh, okay, well, we extend DJ Moore. Now we got a Dunze. Now I think it's Keenan's just here to help build those guys up, make them a little bit better, and then he'll be gone next season. So that's why that wide receiver 3 spot, man, because ultimately, if you look at it into next season, DJ and Rome are going to be your 2 guys, right? That's the way you're going to move this offense. Tyler Scott, this is your opportunity. Colin Johnson, I thought, played really well in the preseason. You know, they made jokes about it on Hard Knocks, the Colin Johnson game. And I thought if anybody on the Hard Knocks season deserved an opportunity to play on this team, it was him. So yeah, I'd be interested to see if they're going to utilize him much. Probably not, because you're looking at wide receiver 4 at that point. But it wouldn't be a bad thing to get some of these younger guys who did have flashes in preseason, give them opportunities. So,
yeah, I agree. And I misspoke. I think I said Benson earlier about being benched. I think you might have known who I meant. I meant to say Shelton, but
Shelton, yeah.
Yeah. I don't think, from what I've been reading, it doesn't look like he is going to get benched, because I don't think you really have much of an option. I think our backup center is Doug Kramer, I believe.
Yeah, and he hasn't played well.
Yeah, so I mean, I guess you can also say how worse can it get?
He was face down in the grass, and as an offensive lineman, when you're supposed to be pushing forward and you're backwards face down, that's not a good look. You know?
Yeah, it's kind of the opposite. You see all these pancake blocks by offensive linemen where they're setting D linemen just straight on their ass. I think that was the opposite. They were pancake blocking our center, and it was just, he just got completely bullied that game. And I think you made a really good point earlier, is if you don't feel like you have a true answer for that interior rush, then why don't you call more play action rollouts? Why don't you get Caleb Williams on that run more, get him to the outside? Because where you said the strength of our O-line is our exterior. So if you bring him to the outside, that relies on your exterior O-lineman a little bit more, and it decreases how much that lack of play by your interior O-line is going to be. So
right.
I think that was a great point that you brought up, and hopefully they have a different kind of scheme where they can try to find a way to make Shelton be a little more productive, and maybe that scheme is just getting more Caleb Williams on the outside.
So we usually do a bare bones segment on this show, Mike. 3 things we want to see the Bears do that'll lead to a victory. Kind of like, if the Bears do all this right, they should win the game. I have a few in my head. I didn't, my graphics didn't work. So we can do it if you want.
Yeah, I'm down.
All right. We'll be right back.
To the whistle, man. Let's be great today. Let's be great. Win out 3. 1, 2, 3. Win.
A lot of faces that are no longer on this team in that video as well. All right, guys, this is the bare bones segment. We give our thoughts on 3 things the Bears need to do that'll lead to a Bears victory. No particular order, 1 through 3. I'll go first. I think one thing we need to see this team do well today is get pressure on CJ Stroud. We talked about it. You rattle a young quarterback, they're more likely to make mistakes. With your defense being so opportunistic, I think that is a must. You need to get him, a couple sacks, a couple pressures, get in his face, let him know he can't just stand back there and be comfortable. Let him make the mistake and take the ball away from him. Whether that's he's rolling out with the ball loose and you smack the ball and it's a fumble, or you're bringing him down and he tries to throw a pass and it's a duck and you pick it off. Like, you need to get pressure in his face. Let him know he can't just stand back there and deliver the ball wherever he wants.
Yeah, no, I like it. So are you naming your 3 and then I name my 3, or?
Well, usually Tarbill and I go back and forth. We'll do
Okay.
one and then go from there. Cause sometimes they line up, you know what I mean? So
Right, gotcha. Mine is, I just want to see them build Caleb Williams' confidence early. I don't want to see a deep pass on the first drive of the game again this week. I want to see, a little dump off screen to Swift. I want to see an easy slant to DJ Moore. I want to see, a little, like you said, a 7-yard curl to, Komet. I just let him, just let him kind of get his feet wet a little bit. I kind of made the analogy on Friday where, it's kind of like when you're getting into a pool with really cold water. You're just kind of slowly getting in. You're not, sometimes it's nice to just jump in and make that big splash, but just slowly just get his feet wet a little bit. Just let him build some confidence, because I think that those deep balls on the first drive where he's missing, I think that honestly hurt his confidence the rest of the game. Like, why can't I make that throw? I always make that throw. Why can't I make that throw? And I think you need to do the complete opposite. Just simplify the offense, short and sweet. Just little plays. Move, even if you don't score on the first drive, get a couple first downs. Just show that you can move the chains a little bit. You got Taylor, who's a great punter, who can maybe pin him back on the 5-yard line, play field position. Hope you rely on your defense to get you the ball back in decent field position. Just let's see some progress on these first drives, and don't try to force it downfield right off the bat. Just little short and sweet to get Caleb's confidence up.
I love it. Confidence is key. We watch guys get rattled a lot on this Bears team in the past, and confidence is something I don't think Caleb lacks, but it's like any quarterback, you have to build it, My next one is speed. You talked all off season about how you got fast dudes on the offense, right? Your running back room, your wide receivers, utilize that speed. A guy like Velus Jones, right? Like, I'm not a fan of Velus at all, but if you're going to have him on the team, what's the point of not utilizing him in some kind of a role, right? Give this guy an opportunity. While it wasn't a huge sample size in the preseason, you watch whenever he had the ball, he ran hard, right? And I think you can set some stuff up, a couple jet sweeps, reverse jet sweeps, where you're like we talked about, getting the defense off balance and giving these guys with speed some opportunity. The strength of your offensive line is where? The exterior. Speed usually shines going outside in the running game. So utilize that more. Don't try to do something you're not. Don't be, if you're a brain surgeon, don't come in here and try to build a house. You know what I mean? Go use those guys, use the speed, get around the edge. And we watched it last season with DJ Moore a lot, where you give him the ball, let him make the play. Give the ball to your speedy guys and let them break tackles. Let them get the yards that they can get after the catch.
Yeah, no, I love it. I think it's a great point, and even just little stuff like that. Even if you don't get the big home run play on those little plays. Like getting 4 or 5 yards every time by doing that makes a big difference in extending the drive. So
Right.
I love that. I'm gonna go with a complete wild card on this one. Probably this is honestly something we have not even talked about. And I think it could honestly end up being a really big difference. I want to see really good play by our interior D line. The Texans center, Juice Scruggs, he's coming into this game questionable. He's already banged up. He's not going to be 100%. We talk about this, the Bears interior O line and, needing to stop this interior D line by the Texans. But let's flip it on the other side because we have a D line that can pressure up the middle. We have guys that can get up the middle. So you see that their interior O line is probably the weak part of theirs too. They have, I think it's Scruggs, and I know they have Kenyon Green over there. Kenyon Green is decent, but that center is, as we saw last week, it dictates a lot when it comes to pass protection. So you already see he's banged up. If I can see that, I would think the Bears can see that. So really try to generate some pressure up the middle. Try to, and it kind of piggybacks off your number one key about generating pressure. I want to see better pressure from our D-line interior. They're coming in with a banged up center. I think that gives you a great shot to generate pressure up the middle tonight.
Yeah, I like it. This is an opportunity. You watch guys last week play well. Billings played well. Pickens, I think, is a guy that given the opportunity, I believe he's healthy today. Given the opportunity, I think he can make some plays. Gervon Dexter, that's the guy you heard about all off season, right? That was making these strides to be more efficient on the defensive line. I love that. Get these guys the opportunity to get in CJ Stroud's face and put him on his ass. Yeah. My last one usually is reserved for the quarterback because the quarterback is the most important position. I think if the Bears want to win this game, Caleb Williams has to resemble Caleb Williams. He cannot go out there and look like Justin Fields like he did last week. You have to come out and be vocal. I know it's hard when you're a rookie quarterback to be vocal with your coaches and whatnot, but like if you see something, he's smart enough. The dude knows ball, right? You're smart enough to see what's working and not working. If you're feeling like something's not working, speak up. Or make it happen. Make something else that you want to happen. You have the ability to audible, right? So if you're reading the defense and you don't like the look, change it. Don't just fall into this routine like they did with Justin and with Mitch where, well, that's the play we're running, so run the play. Caleb is a special talent. That's what we heard all off season. Let the dude be special. Let him make these plays that Patrick Mahomes makes. Be the leader of this team tonight. Last week, your defense was the leader. They led the way. You need to go out there with this confidence. Show the NFL. This is a show me game. Go out there and show the NFL. Have Chris Collinsworth just drooling all over the mic about how good you're. This guy right here and slide it in from off screen. I want to hear that. I want to hear, it's really great to watch this Caleb Williams guy roll to the outside and hit a dart 50-yard pass. Like that's the kind of shit I want to hear tonight. I want to hear them hype Caleb Williams tonight with his play. Yeah.
Normally we hear that all Sunday night. It's usually just the opposing quarterback.
Yeah, exactly.
So I honestly think we completely nailed this segment because I love the points we already made, and I was hoping you were going to bring that up because to piggyback off that, my final point is the wide receiver play. I want to see them give Caleb Williams a chance to make some plays, get open for him. I didn't like the route running very much last week. I didn't like the key drops that we had. Stuff like that is not helping Caleb. It's going to hurt his confidence. And, I also didn't like the personnel, which I know we've talked about. I want to see more Cole Kmet on the field tonight. And, I think Cole Kmet could be a guy that can help him. But I just want to see more separation by our wide receivers. I think a big reason why we didn't see a lot out of Caleb is he didn't have a lot of room to throw the ball. And against a Titans secondary, that's not acceptable. So I just want to see our wide receivers play a little bit better. I want to see them get some separation and give Caleb a window to have an opportunity to make a throw. And don't take if you're taking 3 or 4 seconds to break your route to get open, it's probably too late.
Right.
So, just get open, get some separation, and at least give Caleb Williams a window and an opportunity to make plays. Because if you're not getting separation, you're not even giving him a chance.
I agree. You have some veteran wide receivers on this team. You know, they're not dumb. They know, hey, I got to be open at this point, or I got to be looking for the ball at this point. Complementary football, right? That's what you want to see. Your quarterback complement the wide receivers complement the quarterback, help each other out, and I think that if they can do all those things, there's no reason they should lose this game.
Right.
So
Packers suck.
Before we leave, what do you got for score prediction?
Oh man, I'm gonna say the Bears win 27-24.
It's hilarious that you said that, because my score prediction I wrote down today in Discord was Texans 27-24.
So hey, at least we have it a close game. I have it
Yeah.
a field goal game at the end that's what's gonna win this game.
Yeah.
So,
and honestly, if our offense puts up 3 touchdowns and we see Caleb Williams throw for 225, play well and improvements, and you go into Houston, who's like that, poster child right now of what you want to be, and you go head to head and you just barely lose a close game by 3, I'm walking out with a victory on that one.
If Caleb looks significantly better than he did last week, and you're in this game against a potential Super Bowl contender, no, you're not going to rattle me. Yeah, I'm going to be mad they lost, but it's all about improvement and seeing Caleb improve, right? That's what this year is.
I know this is going to sound weird, but I think you'll agree and understand where I'm coming from. If we see that type of game and that's what happens, I will feel better after this loss than I did after last week's win.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Without a doubt, because they looked so inept last week.
Yeah.
I was a fucking mess going into that. I was a mess going into halftime, man. It was not a good thing. All right, guys.
You through the screen. So
yeah, it was not good. I want to thank all the guys or people, who watched today with us. Mike, great conversation, man.
Awesome.
The bare bones was spot on. I think we nailed it.
Yep.
And it's kickoff, so everybody go out there, enjoy your football, and hopefully we're talking about a Bears victory, 2-0 Bears team heading into Indianapolis next week. Make sure you follow us, Undefeated Sports Network, on Facebook, YouTube, Undefeated SN21 on X. Let us know your guys' predictions for tonight, and enjoy the Sunday, and bear down.